Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of BarTalk.
Hello?
Today we are chilling. We're prepping for a hurricane.
A hurricane that is it coming or
We
is it
don't know.
not? The world may never know.
Yeah, it's I could go a lot of ways with that.
Oh. That took me a second. Sorry. That's what she said.
Yeah, basically it keeps turning and it's getting closer to us and then it goes farther away and it's getting closer. It's a tease, really, this hurricane.
That's what she said.
Such a tease. Yeah, so, and I don't know, the winds are like anywhere from 0 to 150 miles per hour. So,
yeah.
Storm surge of anything between 2 inches and 85 feet. So, it's really...
Winds at 800 miles per hour, category 45 hurricane.
Yes, it could really go any direction. Basically, though, I live in a location where the power lines are underground, so
yeah.
I'll be potentially no roof, but I'll still be baking in that bitch.
True. Or she's going to be staying with me, and I got a giant tree over my roof, so we might as well get fucked up together.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have a little hurricane party.
I always say, I'm like, hey, if life shit is happening, it's better to have destructo mode happening with your friends.
Yeah, at least I'm not alone.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So
I'll be like, Tracy.
Yeah. We're going to sit here. We're going to get a little, you know, like I got some happy dads. We got some tequila. We got some line dance music. We got some friends. I mean, like, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Nothing.
I mean, a lot probably. But
I mean, but really, like, what
we
could
have
go wrong?
cookie dough, and I put peanut butter M&Ms in the cookie dough.
I know she
so
did.
It is going to be fucking good.
I know. And I feel like my diet was like not the best since we were away all weekend, but I don't even fucking care. It's hurricane party season.
Yeah, who cares?
Whatever.
Anyways, today I think we're talking about serious stuff actually.
Always. No.
Yeah, now that we're
Not
reflective on death.
Yeah.
We're talking about we have a couple.
Well, we got a couple questions that I guess people have been asking, and so Abigail had a few of them that people had asked about. So we're gonna talk about
that.
one
Was
of
the
them.
weirdest.
Sorry, I have an itch in my eye, and I was like trying to compute what I wanted to say, and it didn't come out the way I wanted it to.
Okay.
Anyway,
basically, I got a couple questions with topics that could go very deep if we allow them to, and one was on essentially peace and finding peace within oneself, and then also one was on selfishness and being selfish.
Yeah.
And I think that
we should talk about that.
The selfish one?
Yeah, because me and Alana were just talking about this. We were trying to find a different word. I'm so sorry. I got like some bullshit in my eye. We were talking about a different word for selfish, because selfish is not the right word. And we were just talking about this. So I think
it depends on what is behind the selfishness, because being selfish, if there's if it's fully egocentric and with like malicious intent, I think that being selfish is obviously not ideal. But there's a form of selfishness that is utilized for the sake of actually bettering other people, which is I do things for me to make me better for others.
For other people, yeah.
Right. I work out and eat well and take time to myself and say no to things so that I can be a better trainer, daughter, friend, client, whatever, to other people.
What was the question that somebody asked you about it?
It was just it was not even really a question. It was just saying that being selfish is okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well but see, that's exactly what we were talking about. So like, apparently, I have this really bad habit that like, I mean, you've called me out on this before, and Alana has called me out on it.
Pushover.
Well, yeah, and I say things, like, I guess I never really noticed it, but I say things with, I'm trying to figure out like how to word this. Like, I will say, and quote, I'm air quoting if nobody's here. I'm air quoting.
If nobody's here.
If nobody's here, if nobody's watching this. Selfishly, I blank, 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 blank. Like, selfishly, I blank, blank, blank. Because I guess I just feel that maybe my personality and the way that I live my life is like, I am a giver and I like doing for others. And then when I do something for myself, it feels selfish, and selfish is not the right word. And so we were just talking about that.
TMI, potentially personal relationship with somebody who would make you feel very badly for doing anything for yourself.
Well, that's how we got into the conversation in the first place, because this weekend in West Virginia, I literally like backed out. Like I straight up backed out. And that's how we got into the conversation in the first place. Yeah. So like basically we went to West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, first of all, let me tell you something. I mean, if anybody listened to the podcast before, you can obviously tell that I was pretty much the most unprepared for a race I've ever been. I mean, I was just like not
100%.
Dude,
I don't even think I sent them a good luck text. I think I just said have fun.
Yeah, she
because
did.
I was like, we're not even podiuming.
Yeah, I was like, we're
not even going to be close to podiuming.
Donkey in it. So like we didn't even freaking I didn't have shit. I didn't buy anything from the feed. I didn't get any of my gear. I was like, West Virginia, just fucking take me as I come because I'm coming with absolutely nothing. I packed a bag full of absolutely nothing. I didn't use any of it. And I didn't even pack until like midnight the night before. We had to leave at the ass crack of dawn.
Yeah.
Like I was at the gym at 4:30.
Y'all left not at the ass crack of dawn though. That took you guys forever to get out of there.
Oh my God. It took us forever. We were at the gym at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, they were at the
gym.
We
didn't leave till 8:30.
Yeah, I was gonna say I pulled up at 7 a.m. and I was like, y'all still here?
Yeah.
Y'all still here?
Yeah.
You guys were like, hey. And I was like, yeah, and they were like, you're late because I was like 5 minutes late for a client because fucking okay, I did not account. 7:30 traffic is different than 6:30 traffic. And I got out of a meeting. I was on a call and I got out of the call late. But anyways, they were like, you're late. And I was like, you're fucking late. What the fuck?
Yeah, we were late, man. We were late. I mean, granted, we were only going to Savannah because we stopped halfway. We went to Savannah and then we went to West Virginia. So it really wasn't that bad. But anyway, I was like the most unprepared I've ever been for West Virginia. But we had like a day to get there. And I was like, okay, well, it's a series race. This was my goal for this year. Like, I'll get my head in the game once I'm there, feel the adrenaline, whatever. And like the morning of, I woke up and I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm here. I'm with it. Right. Like, I was like mentally prepared. I was like doing my thing, just like any other like race day. I was like, I just need to run this one race, whatever. And then we start running and I just like in the weirdest way, I was like a couple miles deep and I just realized that like I couldn't get control of like my heart rate and I was like starting to crumble a little bit, which like normally in the beginning of the year when we were first racing, that would be like it would trigger me a little bit and I'd be like, all right, stop being such a little bitch. And I just like run past it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this time around, I just started like crumbling. Like I was just like, what? I am terrible. I was like, I'm horrible. What the fuck am I doing out here? Like I suck. Why do I even coach this shit? Like you just go down the whole, it's like it's just like an open
cascading a loop.
Yeah. Yes. It's just a loop. And I was just like, okay, well, like personally in the recent months, just to be totally honest, like I just realized that like I talk very poorly to myself. Like I just don't think highly of myself. And it's nothing that I want sympathy for at all. Like I like don't, whatever. It's not something I'm searching for.
Sympathizing with you, trust me.
Or like anybody, like don't say anything to me. Yeah. It's just
send her hate messages.
Yeah, just send me hate, honestly. But seriously,
this is the poorly thing, Trev.
Well, I'm fucking kidding now. But I just realized I was like, I just honestly like feel like shit about myself. And so I was like, something's got to give. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I was like, I'm going to stop. I'm calling the race. I'm just going to be out here. There's no reason why I should feel like shit about running poorly and then not podiuming when I can just like have a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes races just don't have to be all about the competition. It just has to be like, why am I out here in the first place? You know what I mean? And just like genuinely appreciate what I do for a living and like appreciate myself as like an athlete and just like enjoy life. Mm-hmm. I knew so many people that were there. I knew people like all of the obstacles had somebody that I knew. Like I knew a bunch of volunteers out there. I knew a bunch of racers out there. Like, so I was like shooting the shit. I was like, fuck it. I started picking flowers. I was taking my sweet ass time. People were passing me. I like got to the swim. I'm like, do-si-doing around. I'm like hanging out in the water like a frog, just kind of like floating around. And I just had like a great time. But then I was talking to Alana about it and I was like, that was like the best race of my life. Because there was like no pressure and I took the competition away and I just had a great time. Mm-hmm. And I got back to like, at the moment, I like got back to myself being like, damn, I know why I do this. But I said the words, I was like, I just needed to be selfish about it a little bit and just be like, fuck everything else. And like, I have to actually give a shit about me for once. And she was like, it's not selfish. And I was like, but it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it is.
But it is. Like,
It is.
So we were trying to find a different word for selfish because in a way
They call
it
that
is.
self-care, Tress.
Yeah, but it
It
is. Right. Yeah, right. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe like when people say the word selfish, you just think about it in such a different way because typically people who are selfish suck or they do it in a sucky way. You know what I mean? So when you say you're being selfish for yourself, it makes you kind of feel different. Makes you feel a little weird. You know?
I don't know. It doesn't make me feel weird. I love being selfish.
Yeah, you have a different relationship with it than I do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
it's also in a good way. Like you're able to set
That's
yourself
the-
aside and take care of yourself.
yeah, that's probably the one thing that I think that I do well. In fact, if anything, I think I'm by myself a little too much, and then I go into the darkness.
But it's not though.
No, but yes, it is though, because I'll be like,
I mean, maybe it might
things-
be the darkness, but it's not. But it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not about. Oh,
Your
forgot
cramp?
my toe is fucked up.
Oh, she broke
Sorry.
your toe.
Yeah, I think I don't know what I did to my toe. I don't know if it's broken. I think it's just fucked up, and I just accidentally grabbed it. Sorry. Sorry, folks.
Anyway,
I think that selfishness is crucial. I think selfishness is a crucial part of actually your training. Like in the gym, you have to be selfish. It's like, I have to do these things for me. I think that also it's interesting because we almost argue with ourselves. Like with your training, it's like, oh, well, I have this birthday party that I got to go to later tonight for my friend. And it's like, sure, if it's a very important friend or it's a very important birthday, like whatever, go. But like sometimes it's like, no, dude, I got shit to do. Like I have things that I have to do. They'll know that I love them. You know, there are certain boundaries that I set. And it's, if it crosses the threshold of that boundary that I set and it doesn't interfere with my higher values, I say no.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah, you're good about that.
Like there are times all the time when when they'll ask me to hang out and I'll know that my social battery is like pretty low. And I'm just like, theirs isn't, because theirs is different than mine. But it's like, I'm not going to feel bad that my battery gets drained very quickly. And I'm also not going to go hang with them and be a fucking shithead. I'm going to go be by myself. They will have more fun without me. Trust me, you know, and it's like, they are good friends. They know and respect that about me. And so when I don't show up, they're like, she got to do her thing.
Right.
You know?
She's like taking care of herself.
But they also know that if y'all ever really need me, or if it's a very important event, I will be there.
Right.
Always.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So because that, my social battery now doesn't matter, because the higher value of whatever important thing is that is of importance. It's like, this particular event is very important to Tracy. Because of that, I don't care if my social battery is at 0%. I'm going to go and do this thing to uphold this thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like, figure out where your boundaries are, but make sure you uphold those, because when it comes to being selfish, it's like people will try to play around with how selfish you really are. They'll try to mess around and see what they can actually get out of you, because other people are also selfish and in not so good of a way sometimes, where they're selfish with your time.
Well, yeah,
and
they take advantage of it,
your energy, and they'll take advantage of that. And so you have to actually figure out where your boundaries are, what you need to be selfish with, and stick to them, because what happens is, if you one time you let it slip, there's going to be that expectation that every single time you let it slip for them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have a lot better of a relationship with that than I do. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just, I don't know if it's the way I grew up or maybe just the way I am, but I feel like I am that giver type of sense where, like, I don't know, like 9 times out of 10, I will just do something for somebody else just cause.
See,
and so like it puts me in this position where it's like,
but I think it's at the cost and it sabotages yourself.
It does. That's
like,
why. That's why I
your
always
way
say,
of
well, like
self-sabotage.
I'm like, well, you know, like I can't think of a good example right now. Like I wish I could, because I'm talking about it, you know. But I always will just start the sentence with being like, well, you know, selfishly, I had to not go to this so I could do that, and it's like, well, actually, I couldn't go to X, Y, and Z or pick up the phone. Like a good example would be, like, Joey makes the joke all the time that he can call me at any point of the day and I will pick up the phone. And it's like, yeah, I will. Like, I will literally be doing something incredibly important and the phone will ring, and 9 times out of 10, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Just because, like, if you were to call me, if he were to call me,
the
like,
important people call you.
Yeah, if like the people that are in my inner circle call me, I will call them right back if I don't get to my phone in time, or I will pick it up. Yeah. And I like, 9 times out of 10, I'm doing something else. Like, I'm never in a downtime really. Mm-hmm. And he always says like, "Are you working?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I also, you called me, like, what's up?" You know, and selfishly, I would be like, I can't answer the phone right now because I got to do this, and that. But I just kind of like think I don't have that boundary to like not think that way. I think that's
honestly, for diving into this, I think that's your way of self-sabotaging. I think I'm just better at, I self-sabotage in different ways.
Yeah.
I'll self-sabotage by like suffering for suffering's sake, or like,
waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning every fucking
just
day.
Just punishing myself. Like punishing
like
myself is usually my way of self-sabotage. Punishing myself in some way, whether that's like with food or training or work, I feel like that's worse. Or whatever. Yeah. I mean, if we're comparing, probably, bitch. But whatever.
Just go through
Trash, like, I self-sabotage with fun things, like talking to people on the phone.
I self-sabotage by dropping everything from just like doing whatever the fuck all else and
go have
procrastinating.
Fun. Yes, I'm like, I self-sabotage by fucking beating myself.
Beating the shit out of myself.
Whatever, dude. It's not about me right now. Okay, we're talking about you. I'm not selfish. Okay. I think that is something that people could potentially be relating to though right now, and something that is important to talk about is like, are you selfish in the right way with your time?
Yeah.
I've always thought time was just a valuable asset to me, and as much as I'll waste it in other ways. I think everyone has problems wasting time because we don't understand really how valuable it is until you're at the end of it.
Yep.
I'll waste time in other ways, but I have definitely a deep respect for time in terms of like productivity and trying to become like the best person I can, like
with the time you have,
like just being like, I like the best trainer, the best friend. Like I just wanted like a fucking be the best, and some like ego, I guess probably like my ego is just like, you must be the best of all, and so I'm good at being selfish in that way because I'm like, okay, no, if I can do this, or this, and this A, B, or C, and B gets me to the path of highest degree of productivity in this moment, I'm choosing B.
Yeah.
And then my self-sabotage kicks in, and it'll be like A, B, or C. Choose the thing that's the most punishing.
Yeah.
And that's when like self-sabotage will come in. But that's like another topic of conversation.
Yeah.
But I think for you, it's going A, B, C, and being like, okay, ooh, A is friend, shit. B is productive thing, that's kind of selfish. C is cleaning, that doesn't have to get done right now, but it could get done right now. Right, and then you have to be like, I gotta pick B.
Right, yeah, like pick which avenue you gotta take.
Yeah.
And then like in regards to fitness in general, like even saying that you're selfish, I think like we also talked about this earlier, where it's the analogy of when the oxygen mask drops from an aircraft, like when you're in a plane, and they say like, put the mask around you first, and then put the mask around your child, infant, whatever the fuck. And like normally, like you would see that, and you're like, well, I'm gonna put it around the person that's right next to me because they need help, and then I'll put mine on. But the whole analogy is like, you got to be selfish, and right. How the fuck are you gonna take care of them? How are you gonna be able to help them if you're dead? So like in a fitness sense, like when I talk to my clients about it, I mean, we say it to everybody. We're our own worst critic. We're our own worst trainer. Let's be honest. That's how everybody is. But it's the same thing. It's like, how are you going to take care of somebody else if you're not well?
And that's why I actually do, like, I give a lot of my time to my good friends and to my clients. Oh God, like fuck ton of like, my clients will sit there and text me, and they're like, why are you fucking texting me at 11 o'clock on a Saturday with scheduling stuff and like training things and program? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I think that it's like, that's part of my giving thing. And then when I need to go be selfish, I will. Like, there are times when I also do not text my clients back because I'm like, I need a fucking minute. Or there are times when it's like...
And you really don't need a reason.
Yeah, or there's times when it's like, okay, this client is texting me with this very pertinent thing that needs to be answered right now. Okay, we'll text back. Or there's a time where it's like, I need to be alone. Or my friend or my mom or my sister needs me right now. not pertinent, not texting them back, going to do this thing. Like, it's kind of, for me, everything's just like a balancing scale weighing.
Yeah. It's a balance act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm actually fairly healthy with.
Yeah, you are. Like, even next year, I talked about like our training schedule and like our races and stuff like that. And I told Alana that I feel
You got to do
selfish because as a coach, or like, I mean, I wouldn't even consider my family part of it. I mean, I love my immediate family, but just like my relationship that I was in, I wouldn't consider that part of it, being away all of the time, because it was also part of my job. And I mean, as you can tell, I know a shit ton of people. So it's like, I'm always creating connections to like be able to have us go to a race in another state and have a random come up to me and be like, yo, I saw some flockers out there. Like, people do that to me every race. And I don't think people realize that. Like, the reason why I meet people is because I'm a chatty Cathy and I just meet randoms, and I don't care if you're a unicorn. It's like, hey, what's up? How are you? These are my people. And they just remember us from that. And so I'm always trying to make connections.
You also have a very magnetic energy.
Yeah.
I think you have I was talking to Mike about this the other day. Mike, one of our good friends, for those listening, about this the other day. It was like, you are this tornado that just like sucks everyone in. Aww. And I'm like the filtration process where I just like throw all the fucking people that don't matter out. And I'm like, you can stay. Bye. Yeah. You can stay. Peace out. And then you're like, your tornado stops
in the wind.
You like stop for a second. You're like, wait, where did that person go? And I'm like, we got rid of them. They weren't it.
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
But wait, what is the selfishness about the race season?
Right. So the race season. So like, I was talking about it, how like I feel selfish because I race the whole time. And it bothers me that I don't see my people race as often as I should. And so I felt very like, don't get me wrong. Like, I am I work for Polar. I'm an ambassador through Clean Freaks and Junk Brands. Like, I have to do those things to uphold them. Like, one of the reasons I still am with Polar is because I have not been out of the top 5 in like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, they track that. I tag them in all my stuff, yada, whatever. I've gotten like over 100 people to buy Polars that are just through my social media, and like people that I've met at races or whatever. So in that regard, yes, I still have to do it because I have a job to do, but I also have a job to do like as a coach. And like, I feel like I don't personally, and like maybe some people will think that I'm wrong, but I personally just feel like I'm selfish in that way, where I race the whole weekend and I don't get to see my people run. So like next year, like, I am so back and forth on buying the season pass because like, I want to pick the races to go with my team so I can race the races that matter and go and just be there with them in races that maybe don't matter as much or not on my like radar as far as training, but maybe I can like race on the Saturday morning and then do the opens with them, or like watch them run the open on Sunday, or like, like, there's a lot of people that don't do Saturday. They just do Sunday. And then I can like be there as an athlete and do my job, do my due diligence. And then I'm there the whole weekend anyway and watch them race. And it's like, I felt so selfish for being that way. And it's really not, but I was like having such a hard time with it.
There's a difference between feeling as if though you're being selfish and then also feeling as though you're not aligned with the same trust you were this year, which is totally different. And if it might be that you're deciding, I want to be selfish and not be so hard on myself with racing this year and focus more on coaching. That's also like potentially a selfish thing to do. Like, for me, it was like, I competed a couple times this year and I was like, I don't like competing. I don't think competing.
You ever did.
I've never liked competing.
Yeah, you never did.
I never admitted to liking competing. I've never enjoyed it.
Right.
It's always been something that I've done literally just to be like, it's a hard thing that I do for me. Like, that's it. I love, like, selfishly, I love being a good drill partner, a good teammate. Like, my friends are leaving for Vegas to go to Jiu-Jitsu Con and Master Worlds. And I wrote them all cards to open on the day that they
that was
compete.
Sweet of you.
But the thing is, but that's what I love. Like, part of it is like, that's selfish. And most people are like, that's not selfish. It's like, but it is, because I love the fact that I'm not fucking there competing.
Right.
And I'm there like cheering them on.
Right.
And so it's like, that brings me joy. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it might be that this year you're just like, I'm burned the fuck out. I want to do more with my business. I want to grow my business. I want to coach.
But I also love fucking competing too.
Well, you're gonna, but
because
that's
I'm an
fine.
athlete, man.
Go compete.
But that's what I'm saying. I think I'm gonna
Pick
just
5
like
fucking races
that's what
throughout
I'm
the
doing.
year. Ball out on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because also too, there is something with being like so saturated with competitions
Oh,
that they all start to kind of muddy in the water, and you start just kind of doing mediocre at all of them.
Right.
Which I feel like is what happened this year.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many stressful life events, and then also there was just so many races. It almost is like the races didn't matter because it's like, well, there's just another one next weekend anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being like, I have 5 races this year. I want to
like
fucking win them.
For them. Yeah.
Yes. I want to fucking win them.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually have a full training block for those races.
Yeah.
Because also, if you're prepping for big races, like 5 races is still a lot of races.
Yeah, it's huge. Training blocks are very large amount of time.
Right.
You
so
know?
I think that I'm not trying to sit here on this podcast and be like, just talk about giving you advice on stuff. But if I am your friend, which I am, if I know you, are we? If I know you, which I think I know you fairly well,
mm-hmm.
I feel as though your desires have shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think it's
disagree.
a good thing, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think
Mm-mm.
it makes you weak or some kind of not competitor or whatever.
Mm-mm.
I had to realize that for myself. I was like, what am I doing? Like trying to build this fucking business and compete and like train like some weird maniac and like I'm like trying to do all these things, and I'm like, I just want to focus on one right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And right now it's like, I want to focus on my business.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to focus on my business and also like getting my fucking head right.
Yeah.
And
and it's also not about just like having something, like we also talked about this too, with keeping all of this in mind, is like having something on the calendar all the time is good for a lot of people and for a lot of reasons, because it keeps you in that like consistency of, you know, like of having a goal and training and like fuck the motivation bullshit. It's like being dedicated to enjoying the journey no matter what the journey is, right? And it's just like dedicated to enjoying the craft.
There's also a little bit of ego in the fact that it's like you're motivated by your own ego to do well at whatever you're deciding to compete at.
But every competition that you have on the calendar is for something different. And I think that that's what a lot of people lose. And that's kind of like what I lost in myself and why I was so happy to be selfish this weekend and just like, you know what, fuck the competition. I just want to have fun. Mm-hmm. Because you start to lose sense in like why you're doing it and why you got into it in the first place. And like, even though I had something on the calendar every single month did not have to be a competition for me. I just kind of made it that way because I was like being selfless almost, you know? And so this weekend I was like, you know, like I talked to Jared about it, and every competition that you get into or every event that you get into, I'll say, has its own purpose. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's okay to be selfish and go away for a fucking weekend with your posse and your people and do something for yourself because it makes you feel whole and happy. And like, you don't have to fucking compete. And like, that's okay.
Well,
you
like
know?
For me, it was the opposite with Utah for the Beast Race. It was like, I was like, I want to hang out with my homies and just fucking go out there and do my thing and like push myself and see what I can do. And I happened to do really well on it. Yeah. Like, but the thing is like there was part of why I think I did so well is because there was no pressure.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know?
Right. There was no pressure.
And
sometimes with these races and weekends and just, I mean, even, it doesn't even have to be like a Deca Spartan weekend of the crew that we come with. It's like even my clients as well, they'll say like that they want to go to an expo or they like want to travel and do something. And they're like, well, you know, like I feel like I've been taking so much time away like from my family. And I'm like, you know, like they'll understand though. And I say that to them all the time. I'm like, that's what you want to do because you should be selfish and go take care of yourself and take that weekend away and like regroup yourself so you can come back and be a better person.
I think
you know?
this actually
translates. It's not selfish. It's
no, it's not. I think it makes you better when you come. It brings you peace and it fills your cup. And that transitions very well into the other topic, which is how to find that peace. And I think that like, man, in Utah, I didn't realize this until I was on the phone talking with Mike. And I was like, Utah was so insane. I will never be able to describe it to anybody. I don't even think we can describe it to each other. The people who were on that trip, it was like
all a fucking, of us there.
It was like a very, very stirring, emotionally stirring trip. Yes. I think it propelled a lot of people, me anyways, on not necessarily a way that not enjoyable. It wasn't necessarily enjoyable. It was just like it just stirred something in me. And like,
not
I don't
just
know,
you,
dude,
like
on that mountain,
every one of us.
Like, I don't know, like on the mountain, I swear to God, like I found God or something. It was weird because I was at that trip, on that trip, I was living these incredible, beautiful moments. I mean, like, I was there objectively in the present moment, aware of how absolutely incredible the moment I was in, the location that I was in was, the people that I were with were, like, and I wasn't at peace.
Mm-hmm.
I had no peace.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I should love this.
But you don't.
But I'm not okay inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got back and it was, I literally like went into this full depressive episode that I'm still struggling with, if I'm being honest, because I realized like no part of me is at peace.
Mm-hmm.
And my coach, Killian, also low-key a therapist, sent me, he just like knew something was up with me. And he was talking about it was because I think too, I won the beast race and I felt nothing. Like I literally felt nothing.
We all felt more for that race than you did.
Y'all got more excited and hyped for me than I was like, fuck, like I was depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling him, you know, he's like, you should be really proud of this accomplishment. And I was like, I'm not. I was like, I feel like no success that I do is worth anything.
Well, you think it's not enough.
And he's like, because you don't actually have anything that you have no definition of success.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I think I do. I have these goals. He's like, no. He's like, because you're not running toward anything. You're running away from something.
Mm-hmm.
So figure out what you're running from. I couldn't answer that for weeks. I literally, like 2 weeks later, just randomly messaged him. And I was like, I'm running away from peace.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm actively running away from it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, cool. Next homework assignment. What is peace? What is suffering? What is chaos? Like figure that shit out and define it.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't answer him for weeks because it was just something that I was like, I'm not going to force this, but I'm going to contemplate it. And I realized it was like, it actually isn't suffering that is the opposite of peace. It is unrest.
Yeah.
It's like this feeling that I cannot ever fucking just sit and be. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I try to sit and be, I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like me sitting there right now is not enough.
Right.
And so
I feel that.
And so I think that it links though with the selfishness, because part of it is like you have to figure out how to find rest. And for some people it's like being
very
selfish,
hard.
Doing the thing. Like it may bring a sense of discomfort, but that doesn't mean it's unrest. And just because it's not familiar doesn't mean that it's not good and productive.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be a period of time where you do something that you know deep down feels like it is the right direction for you to go in, and it is extraordinarily uncomfortable.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. It's uncomfortable with people, and it's scary.
Well, it's really scary.
It's really
because
fucking scary.
Also, like, it's like when you find peace, you realize that life is bliss.
Yeah.
And then it's
Life's
like
really not that bad.
And then it's like this was that easy.
Mm-hmm.
This was that simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've been sitting in unrest my whole fucking life.
Yeah. Yeah. And the key to that too is like, I mean, like I'm not at that point yet, but like with the shit that's been going on in my life that I've just kind of been sitting with, you kind of realize that like you get so pent up about certain things, and then you choose to not like accept almost like what is peace when you find it. And then you're like, you get mad at yourself because you're like, that was so easy. And like, you feel good in that moment when you do find peace, or like when you are, you know, like it could be anything, like you're sitting by yourself and you have those thoughts, or like you're in a specific moment and you have those thoughts and like things are so good and you're like, it actually is that easy. And I feel like a part of me, just like my personality, is like, I let things go a lot, you know, and I just am like, I deal with my shit and I vent about certain things, and I'm like, you know, this big ball of fucking wrath and like Jersey Trash comes out. And then I'm like, all right, well, you know what? Fuck it. And I'm so easy to like let things go, but like recently I haven't been able to do that though.
And that's the thing is, I think
like recently I haven't been able to do that.
But I don't think, I honestly don't think you ever have.
Well,
and
I
it's
think
not
it's
because, and it's not because I think that you sit there and hold grudges. I think that the body holds on to it in ways that we don't realize.
Yeah.
And I think that you are like one of the fucking most awesome people I've ever met. And so I think that you are always quick to forgive, but it doesn't mean that you've let it go.
Yeah.
I think that there's a sense of like still latching onto, and I think it honestly manifests in you physically a lot.
Yeah,
with
dude,
the anxiety and the chaos and I mean,
well, that's why I said the other thing.
Chaotic mentality. I think a lot of that is like your brain is in some way trying to cope with all of these frustrations and angers and resentments and this sense of unrest that you feel. Mm-hmm. And so because of it, you're constantly feeling scattered. Mm-hmm. And when you do find peace in something, I think that you almost get confused and uncomfortable because
like it's not supposed to be this way, but it is.
Because what's familiar is chaos.
Right, yeah. I live in chaos.
Yeah, and that's not good. I think that like I don't necessarily live in chaos, but I'll live in suffering. Mm-hmm. And so I have my own, thing where it's like I feel as though I think growing up, it's like all of the validation I've ever received was like, you're hardworking, you're a badass, you're a beast, you grind all day, like that was my whole identity was always like, I wasn't the naturally good at things kid, but I would fucking work for them.
Yeah, you'd work your ass off for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I've had to let that go. Mm-hmm. And that's very hard because part of me is like, I'm leaving behind an identity that I didn't even, like that doesn't even necessarily exist. Mm-hmm. Like that I generated for myself.
Yeah.
Which is like, this is who I am. And if I rest for even a second, I could lose it. I could lose my image. Mm-hmm. And I think that I don't want people to get confused with like finding peace as just being like sitting in a garden doing nothing. Like there's peace in work. There is peace sometimes in suffering. Like after a degree of hardship and like understanding that you went through that and you thrived through it. It's like there is peace in that. Like there is peace in doing the fucking work.
Right, like putting it in.
But there is also peace in rest. Mm-hmm. There is also peace in taking time for yourself. There is also peace in like stopping everything and just sitting, watching a fucking movie. Like there's peace in those things. Mm-hmm. And I think that I don't know what whoever's listening or even necessarily yours is, but I do know that your body will react sensationally to when you are feeling that peace.
Yeah.
You will feel, as Jordan Peterson described it, like the rhythm of life aligns with your higher purpose and meaning. Mm-hmm. And you will feel like you are in this flow.
Yeah.
And
well, even in specific moments, like you just are able
to
I'll
feel it when I'm working. I'll feel it when I'm training. I'll feel it when I'm resting. It's certain moments, though, where I will feel it, and I'll feel it very strongly when I'm aware enough. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, I am absolutely in line with what I'm doing, aligned with what I'm doing.
Right.
There are also times when, like, I've been doing, and then it's time to level up. Mm-hmm. And what I'm doing now is no longer in alignment with where I feel like I'm supposed to go. Mm-hmm. And that's really hard for me because I'm like, but I'm working and I'm doing all these things. Yeah. And it's like, no, but you're supposed to go this way now.
Right.
And so I have to start turning the ship. And once I start turning the ship, it's like, I start feeling
it a little bit. You start losing it a little bit. Yeah, man, I don't know. And I think that, it just plays a big role into the whole thing with being able to take care of yourself while also living life. And it all just ties together into using that. I don't know. I just have such a hard time with using the word being selfish. Like that's why we were trying so hard to find a different word this morning, because I was like, dude, I don't know.
It's just like, want to say it?
Not that I don't want to say it. It just sounds like so demeaning in a way. And it's really like not, because like you said, it's finding how to just be, and then finding that peace for you to be able to be better for yourself and for others and for your life and just everything in general. And it's not like, it's okay to be that way. And that's been the hardest thing for me, is just like simply accepting the fact that it's okay. Like, it's okay to be selfish and fucking step away and go away for the weekend and take care of myself. And it's okay for me to be able to say, hey, I'm not good right now. And it's okay for me to be selfish and be like, yo, I need fucking help.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's okay to be selfish and say, no, I can't go do this. I need to go get work done.
Right.
I think I had a moment a couple weeks ago where I was in like a really, really bad like head loop in my brain that I've had these loops that I've had my whole life. And I was walking and what you said like made me think of this. I was walking and I legitimately I was in the park and I like put my hands down on the ground and like I just sat on the ground and like immediately started crying. And I was like,
Get grounded.
I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like I have no control.
Yeah.
I have no control. I have to surrender all of this. And that's when I was like, bro, I swear to God, I found like God on this mountain, because it was like, I don't even like, there has to be a higher power because I need there to be a higher power because I can't fucking do this.
Something, yeah.
Because I can't fucking do this. So I need to give it to somebody else. So God, you better be there. Like, please.
Yeah, that's how I was this weekend.
And I was like, I don't know who the fuck is up there, but I don't know how to hear you either. So, and I've been listening to voices in my head that definitely are not you, because I feel no peace. And it was weird. I woke up one morning. This was a week after the whole park incident. Because I was just like, how do I hear you? Like, I don't know how to hear you.
Right.
I don't know how to hear whatever the fuck I'm supposed to do, but I can't do it. So I'm like done trying to make decisions for me. And I woke up from a dream, not related, nothing spiritual, but I just woke up and it was like, I'll only ever speak to you in peace. And I was like, who the fuck said that?
Who's in my fucking closet?
Who the fuck said
You're like,
that?
who is
but
that?
it was like the first time I ever was like, don't care if you guys don't believe in God, or if you believe God's in you, or you believe in a higher power, or whatever you believe in. It was like something powerful spoke through me. And it was like, I will only ever speak to you in peace.
Yeah.
And so there are things now that I feel like I try to sensationally feel. And it's like, does this bring me a sense of peace? Yes or no? It's why I hired a coach. Because it was like my training didn't bring me peace anymore. It brought me suffering. Right. Because that's all I would do.
And you need somebody else to take the wheel for you and just be able to take some ease away.
So I have a coach that I'm like, I don't have to fucking think about it anymore. I don't want to think about whether I'm doing enough or not enough or too much or whatever, because my fucking loops in my head are telling me little voices like, you little bitch.
I think it's like, it's very strong though. And like, I even like, not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I kind of like patted myself on the back for it after I was done the race, because I was like, holy shit, that was so much fucking fun. And it's the same thing with you. It's like, it takes a really strong soul to just say, okay, enough is enough and you got to break the cycle. Because it's so easy for you to just be so negative about yourself and to just talk to yourself in such a poor way that it becomes second nature.
It sounds like it's you, and but it's not like, you. It sounds like it is literally you
and
talking.
Every day, like for the last, I can't even fucking tell you how long, I've just been like, damn, I feel like shit today. I look like shit. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I just rolled out of bed and I'm just like going through the ebbs and flows of my day like they're nothing. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I sit down and I'm like, well, I look like trash. I feel like trash.
Where's the
what is what is going on here?
So I'm trash.
Like I just don't feel good at all. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I dress. I don't like the way I feel, whatever. And it's not to say that like that's been going on my whole life. It's just like you get into these moments where you just don't have any control, and it goes so far that you're like, you get into this comfortable position where it just continues. And it's like, right, it's just a continuous loop. And that the same thing for you, happened to me. Not that I like necessarily had anything talk back to me in a sense, but I was just kind of, but I did, but in a different way, because I found it was like, fuck. Yes. I was like, yo, something's got to give. And I'm like, I've always been the type of person that like, I don't like to live my life. Like, I don't like to live my life like in constant disappointment, you know? And like, I try not to expect, you know, I expect like the unexpected, you know? And I try my best to live life in a way where it's like, things are really not that big of a deal, you know, because I don't like living my life in like disappointment because it's just not fucking worth it. And this whole time I've been like thinking of myself as a disappointment. And so when I got out there, I was like, what the fuck? Like I've been working my whole life to be able to live in this like positive energy state where I can just like flow through things that come at me. But like I am a disappointment as fuck. And like, and then you get into this headspace where it's like, people expect shit out of me. Like people expect me to do well. They're going to ask how I did. They're going to expect me to podium. I'm trash, right? Like I'm going to expect me to podium. I'm trash. Like I'm not even doing this for me. I'm doing this for my sponsorship and you and my people that are out there and the people I train with. Like, and then I'm not going to perform for them. So like, I'm just such a disappointment, but like, I just had to stop and just be like, all right, whatever the fuck has been going on the last couple months is not right.
But you know what, Tracy?
You know?
I think that was, again, it was a sense of you finally relinquishing control.
Yeah, well,
and it was like when you finally give up control, you have it. And it's like, I think then you realize it wasn't that hard. I think that was like some higher, like there could be a spiritual experience for you in the sense of it's like you relinquished a sense of control and you were brought peace.
Right.
It's like you finally were like, good, okay, I'm letting it go.
Right.
I'm letting it the fuck go.
Right, that's the thing. Is like you just gotta let go.
It's like that too. It feels like that. It's like fucking fine.
Yeah.
Like fine.
Yeah.
And then you do.
Like there were these like two stumps that were sitting there. There was like, so we ran in this like Boy Scout park, which like, yo, I'm going to become a Boy Scout for a month and just go there because it was the coolest fucking place ever. I'm not even kidding. Like you think I'm exaggerating. I'm so not. I will literally become a Boy Scout to fucking go to this camp. Like it was so cool. And anyway, there were these two big stumps where like trees had been cut down and they were next to like these cargo nets and like all of these things that they can climb on and shooting range or whatever. And it was like underneath this like canopy road type of thing. And there was this one spot where the tree must have been that was open because the trees on both ends like haven't connected yet, but the two stumps were there. And I was standing right there and I literally stood on top of the stump and like everybody's racing. I got a red headband on. Everybody's fucking flying by me. Like they're running by me and I'm like standing on top of this stump, just like staring into the only open space in these trees because there was like no clouds and it was sunny and it was hot and it was beautiful. And I was just standing on the stump and I just like stood there for a couple minutes and was like, all right, this is pretty nice. And like everybody's fucking flying by me and I'm like saying hi to everybody. And I just like had to like take a couple deep breaths because I knew that I just like lost the race at that point. I was like, this is it. I said, let me get last place. I don't give a fuck. I thought Mac was going to catch up to me and he started an hour behind, you know? And I was just like, all right, like I'm just going to have a good time. And I just had to like let it all go. I took a couple big deep breaths and I just like stood there for a couple minutes and I was like, all right, I'm going to be selfish as fuck right now. I'm just going to go with it. And that's exactly what I did. And I think it was like the first time that I genuinely didn't regret telling myself that like it was okay to be entirely as selfish as I wanted to be in that moment. Because if I didn't do that, it would have ruined the whole trip. Like I just would have been upset with myself that I didn't do well and that I still tried. And, you know, it was just another thing in my book that I had to deal with that like, yeah, I might have let go, but down the road, it might have came back at me. And, you know, I just, why do that to yourself? You know, why?
More of the story,
like there's no point. Like, right. There's just no point.
Selfish as fuck.
And when you do that one time, like you just realize, I won't say it's easy. Easy isn't the right word either. But once you do that and you find that sense of peace, you're like, holy fuck, man, that was simple as shit. Like all I had to do was take a couple deep breaths and just genuinely believe that it was okay. Life's like really not that bad. You know what I mean? And I just like hardcore lost that in myself for a long time. And so like as soon as I did it, I was like, that only took about 5 minutes of my time. So fuck it. I got another 13 miles to go. might as well have the best hike of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did.
Yep.
You know? So I don't know.
Basically, everybody be selfish, find peace. Don't die in the hurricane.
Peace, love, don't die in the hurricane, man.
We're gonna eat cookie dough and get drunk.
And yeah, drink some tequila, learn some line dances.
I did get tequila from my client for my birthday.
Really?
It's called Sparkle Donkey.
Oh, well, I have a whole thing of 1800 right there.
Okay, but I have Sparkle Donkey, and that sounds way more fun.
Okay, I'm in. Tequila or bust.
Okay.
Love
Bye,
you.
guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Goodbye.
Peace out.